Welcome back to the School of HardKnox Podcast. On this week's show, we're talking about alignment, going a little bit deeper. Also going to share my experiences at a recent SkillsUSA competition and why the trades are so important to our future. It is time to get on the bus because class is in session. This is episode 159 of the School of HardKnox Podcast, and it starts now. Thank you for listening to the School of HardKnox Podcast. This show is about personal development for business success. Not only do we tell the stories of successful people in order to create more successful people, we want to help you turn your thoughts and ideas into reasonable, rational, and profitable action. This show is about my life experiences, your life experiences, and how we can work together to become the best versions of ourselves. Prepare to be inspired, motivated, and most importantly, challenged. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the School of HardKnox Podcast. It's your host, Mark W. Knox, coming to you on this beautiful May day. Listen, it's been a few weeks. My apologies, man. You know, life does what it does. And sometimes we get busy. Sometimes we're overproductive, underproductive, but we got to make space for the things that need space. So I'm back now. Just, quick little break. I told you it's not going to be the same as it was before the season of silence. I told you that. If I feel like making a pod, if I feel like I got something to say, then I'll do it. If I don't, I'm not going to force it. That's the freedom that I'm giving myself, and those are the boundaries that I'm creating to reduce the thought load. I mean, there's a lot going on, man. Like, you got the world stuff, of course. You got gas prices as a result of the war of choice. Yeah, I said it. In Iran, unnecessary from where I sit. Then you got talk of extraterrestrials and UFOs. I don't know if that's a distraction or if that's the truth. Just a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. You had the primary elections. Hopefully you guys got out there and voted at the beginning of this month. And then election season is about to kick up for the general in November. So it's a lot going on. On top of that, we had a couple of new employees that we onboarded, trying to get them up to speed. We got some more projects that we are completing. We got some more projects in the pipeline. We got another contract signed with another builder. This one is a production home builder. So it's a big deal. It's just a lot. It's a lot, y'all. And it's good a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's good a lot. I am not able to complain about anything because everything is moving the way it's supposed to move. Right? It can be uncomfortable at times. It can feel frustrating and stressful that maybe things aren't moving as fast or in the exact direction that you had in mind. But at the end of the day, everything is working together. Everything is working together for my good. And I can see that. So again, hey, we getting a pod this week. Awesome. I don't know what next week will bring. I will try my darndest, but we get one. If we don't, then we go back to the archives. We got 157 episodes that you can listen to that I promise you the vast majority of those episodes on your favorite podcasting platform are timeless episodes. The things that we taught, the things that I've taught, the things that we've discussed with our past guests, timeless principles. You can even do yourself a favor if you listen to this particular show in Apple Podcasts after you give me a rating and a review. That would be awesome. Thank you. Or if you listen on YouTube, not quite as many episodes in that archive, but on your whatever podcasting platform you're using, I use Apple. Man, you can go back to the beginning. Just like, when you see a series that you've been watching on Netflix and then a couple years go by. I know a lot of people like me, I rewatched the whole 8 or 9 seasons, how many seasons of Scandal, right? Like I watched it when it was live, when it was coming on, and then I watched it again last year, right? Like it's just, brings back some memories and gives some clarity. So if that's you, if that's your type of party, I encourage you to go back and listen to the archives. And granted, a lot of you guys do. I get the analytics on past episodes, and there's a few episodes that stand out. Burn the Ships, I think it is called, or Burn the Boats. That was in the top 20. The Jumpman episode with Ray Ball, that's in the top 20. There's a lot out there. So just go back and listen. And enjoy, right? So this week, again, the seasons have changed. Man, I got all these alerts popping up, man. Come on, G. Come on, snooze this. There we go. The seasons have changed. And as of today, I feel like this is the first time I felt summer. I think it's 86 degrees outside at this very moment. And when the season changed, just like we talked about before, when we were coming out of winter, going into spring, right around the spring break episode, it is an awesome time to reflect on the past season that you're coming out of, but it's also that time of the cycle where you want to start looking 2 seasons down the line, right? So the planning that you're doing for the summer is actually not for the fall, it's actually for the winter. Right, beginning in 2026, it's actually for the winter. So your planning for the fall should have been done in the spring. Now your planning for the winter is done in the summer. There's some symbolism there that I want you to think about. Right, we're planning for winter during summer, and we're planning for fall during spring. Yes, that's something there. Think about that. That might be extra credit. But either way, I just want to talk again. I want to go back on a couple things. And this is just me spitballing, to be completely honest. We talked about alignment early on after the season of silence. And I just want to give you a quick update as far as alignment. In my personal journey, in my personal walk, whether I'm talking about my spirituality, my relationship with God, or I'm talking about my marriage, or I'm talking about parenthood, or I'm talking about entrepreneurship, there has to be alignment. There has to be alignment in all those things so that the thing in front of it and behind it can stay aligned with the thing in front of it and behind it. Think about that for a second. Everything that I do has to have some type of synergy. It has to have some type of complementary attributes to where one of those areas is pouring into another one of those areas, and so on and so forth. For example, me being an entrepreneur pours into me being a father because it gives me more time and it gives me more intentional acts with my children, right? To be able to pick them up from the bus stop, to be able to drop them off at school or pack their lunches every day or whatever. It gives me that time that I would need and that flexibility. So everything has to be in alignment. And again, quick update where I've been, where I'm at now. Alignment is more important than even it was when we came off the season of silence at the beginning of the year, right? So in just 4 short months, I've learned a lot of valuable lessons in alignment. And one of the reasons why things have to be even more in alignment is because now we have employees. We have people that depend on us, me and my partner, to make sure that what we're doing is directly related to their livelihood and their well-being, right? Think about that. I can't just make business decisions right now for me and Trey. I have to make business decisions for me, Trey, and the rest of the team, right? And even so, we're bringing on some, what I would consider to be some interns, maybe some install interns, for lack of a better term. Being able to give our nephews the opportunity to make some money over the summer, out of school, out of college, on break, is an awesome honor, first of all. that any one of my nephews will show interest in what we do, but to understand that if there's a resource there that they could come to their uncle and be like, yeah, like, is there anything I could do to make some extra money this summer? And I can say yes. Right? That's not something I can do. Unfortunately, if I work in a corporate position, I can't just hand out jobs. I can't hand out odd jobs. I can't hand out internships. It would be nice, regardless of who I know or what my position is, unless you're pretty high up on the ladder, you still got to go through HR, and then there's nepotism and all this other kind of stuff. Not over here. Nephew showing interest, you able-bodied, got a good head on your shoulders, you're not a knucklehead. I'm going to give you a pixel shirt, and I'm going to train you on something that you show interest in. And that is an honor and a blessing. But that's what I'm talking about by being in alignment, because now my family, the next generation, is now in alignment with my entrepreneurship. See what I'm saying? And then I got, I talk about my nephews, I'm very, very proud of them. And I'm extremely happy and overwhelmed with just like excitement and joy whenever they are on a job site with us, or when they're sitting in the office and we're going over our briefs and things like that. It's an amazing feeling. But then I come home and I share with Cecilia, I'm like, yo, I had Jaden and Elijah on the job site with us today. It was great. We was doing our team thing. Everybody was helping out. And then my sons, Khalil and Marquez, they hear that. And they're like, wait a minute. The cousins that I look up to, the 6'3" cousins that I look up to, Jaden and Elijah, are working with my dad at Pixel. Well, shoot, I want to work at Pixel. See, you understand what I'm saying? It's alignment. It's alignment. And that's what we're trying to build. I think I've mentioned this before. I'm not trying to build a business. I'm trying to build a company, right? I'm trying to build something that lasts longer, than just my generation. I'm trying to build something that if my kids want a vehicle to make money and have a comfortable life, that they could step into this with the proper amount of training and preparation and grow it even bigger, even more prosperous. Right? So it's intentional. It's not just, I'm not just thinking about right now. I'm not even just thinking about tomorrow. I'm thinking about generations. I mean, you got to think about this. Like there's a, and I don't know a ton about this, but I do know this to be true. China, especially when I looked at this, the notes and the reviews coming off of this summit that they just had with the U.S. delegation. China is such a great example of longevity and such a great example of just like overall, I guess, planning for the future. You know what I'm saying? Like China don't have like a 4-year plan or a 10-year plan. They got a 100-year plan. Like what? Like when they make decisions right now, like about infrastructure and building codes and city planning, they're planning and thinking about 100 years from present. Now, I don't know anybody that has a 100-year plan personally. Would it make sense to? I don't know. But maybe, how about a 20-year plan? How about we start there? How about we just start a plan for the next generation? Or if you want to get ambitious, how about a 50-year plan? I mean, 50 years wasn't all that long ago, ladies and gentlemen. 50 years was like the 70s. It wasn't that long ago when you really think about it. Right? So what I'm really trying to say is like, we have to be extremely intentional about every move we make. And I know I've taught this before. I know I've said this before, but I want to be so intentional that I don't even move my limbs or my body in a direction that's not moving me forward or toward progress. Like, I don't want to waste that. I don't want to waste that energy. I want to be intentional. You know what I mean? Like when I walk from here to the kitchen, I don't want to get distracted. You know what I mean? Like I want to be intentional. And I think when you practice being intentional on the small things, it's really it's easier for it to boil up on the major things. And I'm striving to be, and my wife is striving to be in our home, trying to be intentional about alignment and aligning every aspect, every bucket that we operate in to complement every other bucket that we operate in. It makes things move a little smoother, go a little smoother, but it also, when you step back and you look at the big picture, it makes things make way more sense. It makes decisions make more sense. And in a lot of ways, it makes the decision-making process simpler because there's a common goal throughout every bucket that you're operating in. And it's like, okay, if that decision is not going to serve the alignment or the intentional act or the thing that I'm striving for, then that's a process of elimination. So again, it's sometimes it's hard to describe. Sometimes it's very hard to describe. But I think those of you who are trying to lock in and trying to understand and bring more purpose to what you do on a daily basis, I think you understand what I'm talking about. It's really easy to feel and to understand when you're out of alignment. It really is. I mean, I think we all know when we're out of alignment. We all know when the different buckets of life that we operate in are not complementing each other. We can clearly feel that. But I think to know and to understand and be confident that you are in alignment actually takes some work. It really does. A lot of us don't know what that feels like. A lot of us don't know what intention feels like because we do spend a lot of time and a lot of resources on things that aren't in alignment, right? We make a lot of decisions with our money that's not in alignment with the rest of the buckets that we operate in. We make decisions with our time. We make decisions in regard to relationships, whether they be romantic or, friendship based. Some of us are still making bad decisions that aren't in alignment with how we're operating in the direction that we're trying to go. So again, it's easy to feel out of alignment, but it's harder to be confident when you're in alignment. And I think that's what we need to focus on. That's what we need to calm our nerves and our emotions and kind of take a step back and take inventory and say, okay, all right, I got X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. Something not vibing. Something is out of place. Something is creating way more ripples and waves that's making every other aspect of my life more difficult. And when we get to that place where we can understand that, I think we're getting closer. I think we're getting closer. I really do. Like just in general, life is wild, man. Life is wild. And it goes so fast. It goes so fast, man. Wow. Like when I think back, I was talking to one of my employees and I was getting his information and date of birth and address and things, administrative things. And I realized this man was born the same year that I graduated from college. And he's a whole grown up. He's a whole man. He graduated the same year. He was born the same year that I graduated from college. And I promise y'all, it feel like I graduated from college like a couple years ago. Reality, bro, it's been 19 years since you've been out of college. Time goes fast. Now, I'm blessed that I can look back over those 19 and I can clearly see the path and I can clearly see what I was doing, what I was attempting to build, and I can see the result and the successes of those things over the past 19 years. So that's phenomenal. I know there's individuals that look back over the past 19 and they like, bro, what did I do? Like, what did I accomplish? I know I spent a lot of money and I went a lot of places, but I didn't build anything. And I don't want that to be us, right? I don't want that to be us. But a part of that is being intentional about our time and our resources. So it goes so fast. And I know, like, if you're one of our younger listeners one of the younger people in Knox Nation. It's hard to realize that, because you feel like you got your whole life ahead of you, and you do. I'll be the first person to tell you, you do. But I will also be the first person to tell you that once, like Chance the Rapper said, at the end of the day gonna end. That's it. You don't get any more, what's today's date? You don't get any more May 18, 2026. You don't get no more of those. That's over with. It's done. It's done. So the question is, you had 24. You slept for probably 8. What did you do in that time that was intentional? Or did you just live another day or let the calendar dictate? And I'm not saying you got to change the world every day. I mean, rest to me is intentional. We talked about that. Rest to me and chilling and quality time with your loved ones and children and all of that's important. That's intentional. If I was to look back over 19 years and all I did was spend quality time with the people I love, that's a win. Like flat out. Like let's not minimize those things. But what I'm saying is, May 18th, 2026, when it's over, it's over. And we all know we all are on a countdown. And we don't know what the last numbers on the clock are gonna say. None of us know how much time we have left. So I'm here to tell you that we need to be intentional to get into alignment, to make each day complement every other day, and to make each act complement every other act, and to make each bucket that we operate in life complement every other bucket. You only get one life. I know I'm not the first person to tell you that. And sometimes it's hard to realize. Once this thing is over, it's over. But when you log in at my age, when you open up Facebook on a weekly basis, ladies and gentlemen, and you see people that are your age or younger experiencing what I would consider untimely death, right? I mean, it just this week, violence, unfortunately, car accidents, unfortunately, sickness, unfortunately. Like, wow, that's it. That's it. That's it. The book is closed. It's no chapter markers. It's nothing like, no, it's over. Your time on earth has come to a conclusion. And when I see those things, I have to remind myself to make not only every day count, but as many moments throughout the day to make them count. And again, I'm not telling you that you got to change the world every minute of the day. That's not what I'm here saying. What I'm saying is just be intentional, guys. Be intentional. At the very least, do something to make you happy every single day. If it's just one thing, if it's just the routine, sometimes for me, the routine of making coffee in the morning, the routine of mixing up a little iced matcha latte in the morning, it makes me happy. You know what I'm saying? If it's playing a game with my kid, watching my kid play PlayStation for 15 to 20 minutes, walking them home from the bus stop, walking the twins home from the bus stop, holding both their hands at the same time and asking them how their day was. Asking what they learned today. What y'all do today? What was the best part of the day? What you eat for lunch? Like, that's what I'm saying. Just be intentional. Don't just stumble through life, because if you do that, there's no way you will ever achieve alignment. No way.
Knox Nation, quick question. When was the last time you got a break and your kids got their hair done right? That's what we help you do at Crown Kids Healthy Hair Care Salon. Clean parts, healthy hair routines, and a team that knows how to keep kids calm, comfortable, and confident. Yes, we even help our sensory sensitive kiddos. We are located inside of Liberty Mall, just north of Cincinnati, Ohio. Book your next hair appointment, hair party, or group class with Crown Kids, and let's keep those crowns looking right. For more information, just visit us at crownkidshair.com. Again, That's crownkidshair.com.
I recently had the opportunity, man, and this was an absolute honor, you guys. This was an honor through some business relationships, business connections that we have at Pixel Audio Video to go up to Columbus, Ohio, and be a judge for a SkillsUSA entrepreneurship competition. And my eyes were opened. Now, some of you are familiar with SkillsUSA. Some of you, this is the first time you're hearing of it. So let me just give you a quick little synopsis. This is from what I understand. Now, granted, I'm not a SkillsUSA expert, but I have talked to my wife who has some experience in this area, as well as one of my employees who has some experience in this area. So I think I'm going to put these pieces of this puzzle together. So throughout the United States, or the USA, there are vocational schools, also known as career centers, right? Some people will consider them to be alternative secondary education, meaning instead of traditional high school, you go to a career center and you learn what most people assume happens at career centers, which is a trade. And that's generally speaking what happens. For example, when my wife was in high school, she went to a career center in Columbus, Ohio, that was affiliated with her high school, her actual local high school, where she still took her normal classes, still got her diploma, but she also graduated with a cosmetology license and a certification. Okay. SkillsUSA is an organization that kind of brings all of these career centers together and operates different standards, right? They operate different standards and guidelines. Now, I'm not sure if there's an official tie to SkillsUSA from these organizations, from these vocational schools, or if it's just like two separate entities. I'm not clear on that. But from what I do understand, for example, the competition that I was invited to was the state competition. Now, at career centers, guys, you have, depending on the size of the career center and the resources they have, you might have hundreds of different disciplines or hundreds of different certifications or trades or skills that you can learn or your child can learn when they're in high school so that they can quite literally enter the workforce as soon as they get a diploma. As soon as they graduate, they can enter the workforce. Sometimes, as is in my case, with one of my new employees, even before he graduated, he was able to enter the workforce through me, right? So this competition it was a convention center in Columbus, and I had heard there was going to be a lot of people there, a lot of kids or whatever. And I was like, okay, like, what is this? This is like Shark Tank. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of how they describe it. It's kind of like Shark Tank. You know, you just go and you sit and then they present and then you give them a little bit of feedback and we might ask questions and then so on and so forth. So I said, okay, I love doing this kind of stuff. I love pouring into the youth. I love coaching. I love giving advice. I love it all. I love to hear their ideas. I love it. So wake up early in the morning, drive to Columbus. I get there, guys, and there's an estimated 4,000 students in the convention center. A lot of them, most of them have on the red SkillsUSA blazer, right? They got on black pants, black shoes, white shirt, black tie. Okay, now keep that in mind. Put that visual in your mind because we were supposed to deduct points from these entrepreneurship presentations if the entire team did not have on exactly what I just said. This is serious business. Serious business. So 4,000. Now, all those 4,000 weren't for entrepreneurship. There was probably, let me see, we did 4 groups. So there was about 20 kids there for entrepreneurship that were going to compete. And it's a state competition. So I guess they had already come out of regionals and they won their region. I guess that's how that works. So now they converge on Columbus and then state. And out of the 4,000, it's it's amazing, the different disciplines. And this is the part that blew my mind. When you walk into the main hall of the convention center, there was a constructions trade area, and it was huge. You know how big a convention center is. In this constructions trades area, they were competing on almost every trade you can think of to build a residential or commercial structure. Electricians, plumbers, HVAC, landscaping, roofers, brick masons, framers, which are carpenters, people installing fiber optic cable, I believe. People doing, I say landscaping. People welding, right? Like, they were doing everything, to the point where when they were in the competition, the actual competition was set up for them to do that thing. So there was like 10 students in this little cordoned off area, and they were all building a brick wall. Like, literally in the middle of the convention floor, they were building a brick wall. Bricks, mortar, they were chiseling, they was scraping. I mean, it was amazing. And then on the other side, you got guys, excuse me, guys and gals building houses. Like, imagine like a miniature shed. Had a roof, had a set of stairs, had electric in it, had plumbing in it, had a window, had like 2 or 3 walls, and they're building this little structure in the middle of the thing, and they're going off of the plan. So everybody gets the same set of plans, and every team gets their own material, right? So they supply all of that. All you got to do is bring your tools, and you have, I don't know, so many hours to build this structure. And then they got people that are actually work for the city of Columbus, like building inspectors that go through and judge these projects, so to speak, and then they determine the winner. They got guys in there building cabinets from scratch. They got guys in there, like I said, doing landscaping, doing paver patios and mulch beds and planting flowers, and right in the middle of the convention center floor. Now, of course, all this stuff has to be deassembled and taken out, but that's for another day. My point is, I got to peek into, especially in Ohio, the next generation of trade people. And it was humbling, but it was also extremely disappointing. And here's why I say that. There's probably millions of high school kids. There's at least hundreds of thousands in Ohio. I asked myself, how many know this is happening, know this is going on, but will never have the opportunity to participate or go to a career center? And I had to think about myself, because coming up in Cincinnati public schools, even though I felt like I was prepared for college, at least the first year of college, I felt like I was prepared for, I never had the opportunity to go to a career center. That was not an option. And I'm sure it had something to do with budgeting. I'm sure it had something to do with, right, resources, whatever, public school, whatever. But there was a stigma attached to vocation school, and there was a stigma attached to being a tradesperson. I mean, it was like, man, like, it felt like when I was in high school, the only people who they pushed toward the trades were people who couldn't sit still in class, people who they knew couldn't afford to go to college, or people that didn't have good grades. And I didn't, or anybody I knew, wanted to be associated with any of those buckets. So we was like, nah, like, that's whack. You go there, until I met my wife. I met my wife in college, my second year, her freshman year. And she told me she had a cosmetology license, and she was like professionally trained at the career center, but she was in an honors program at Wright State. I'm like, wait a minute, you still came to college? Wait a second, you got good grades? Wait a minute, you know how to focus? Wait a minute. And I was like, dang. So now I'm seeing this process as a judge And granted, I'm judging entrepreneurship, but as I'm walking through the hall, I seen every piece of the puzzle that makes our society move. I seen it represented at SkillsUSA. I seen law enforcement. Guys, they were doing a mock traffic stop in the parking garage right next to where I parked. I had to sit there and watch them. They had groups of students dressed in full police officer uniforms that obviously have been training to do this. Public safety, law enforcement. And they were waiting over on the side, and then they would take a group up and they would simulate a traffic stop, and then they throw them a wild card. The guy would run or he wouldn't have his ID. I was just sitting there watching. I was amazed. They had the fire department. They had paramedics. They had obviously barbers, cosmetologists. Oh, man. I mean, they had people in there that were working on airplane parts. So yes, they had mechanics for cars and diesel engines and things like that, but they also had a whole nother section that was specifically for aviation maintenance right there in the convention center. Had a daggone fuselage of a little plane, and the guys was working on it right there in the middle. And I'm just like, yo, so this is where it happens. This is it. And when they used to say, when people used to say, man, college ain't for everybody, that was an indication. So I thought, and a lot of my peers thought, that was an indication that you had no chance of making it in college. So you just was like, yeah, college ain't for everybody. But the reality is that statement is true. That statement is 100% true. College is not for everybody. Now, my wife, in my opinion, she crushed it because she went and got the license in high school and then went to college and got the degree. Like, so she did like honestly what I probably would have done had I had that opportunity. But just to say that, guess what? You don't necessarily have to go to college. You can still be successful. You can still be successful. We hear horror stories about people in college all the time and they can't find a job and all this kind of stuff. And I'm looking at the guy I just hired who quite literally his graduation is this week, where he will walk across the stage and get his diploma. But the reality is he's been on my roster working for me 4 days a week since November. And he's only had to go to class a handful of times to take exams and to give presentations about what he's been doing while he's been working at Pixel Audio Video. He's already in the workforce. The goal of the Career Center, especially when you have the IT certifications that he has or with technology, is to get you into the workforce. Mission accomplished. He has a job with Pixel Audio Video. This is what he wants to do. He wants to be a custom integration specialist. Like, yo, we're check. And I'm thinking to myself, he's making money. If he still wants to go to college, he can go. He can go online. He can go to part-time. He can do whatever he wants. But he also has a career. And he has these marketable skills today that if he was to leave Pixel AV, he could go get hired somewhere else that does something similar. I'm telling you all of this because I have now come to the conclusion that the path that I took, although was good for me because it's gotten me where I am, had given the opportunity to go to a career center, it would have been even richer. It would have been even richer. And I want to make sure that my children have that opportunity, to at least have that opportunity. So the school district that we're in is connected to a career center called Butler Tech. It's in Butler County. Excuse me. Listen, that's my plan. When they get to high school and they start talking about, what you want to do and what you want to be, yeah, seriously, we going Butler Tech. We going Butler Tech. You're going to find something you want to do, because that's the question. That's the question. Here's your extra credit for the week. Here's your extra credit. Here we go. It's a simple question. It's a very, 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 very simple question, but it's intriguing. It's going to make you think. Outside of working for a corporation, my kids, outside of working for a corporation, what skills and techniques and abilities do you have that a stranger would pay you to perform? I'm going to ask you one more time. Outside of working for a corporation, what skills, abilities, and techniques do you possess that a stranger would pay you to perform? I'm not talking about after training and after certification. I'm talking about today, right now. What can you do that somebody that you don't know would pay you to do? You got to ask yourself that question, because the economy that we're in and the world that we're heading into, I believe is going to put that question on more people's front doorstep than ever before. So listen, this has been the School of HardKnox Podcast. I am your host, Mark W. Knox. I wish you guys the best. Hopefully I see you next week. Class dismissed. Thank you for listening to the School of HardKnox Podcast. You can find our archives as well as new episodes by subscribing on Apple Podcast. Questions or concerns or feedback about the show? Message me directly on Instagram at the School of HardKnox. That's KNOX. Thank you for listening. See you next week.